Opponent sends out Escav, and my god, is that no Skarmory response. Nerds Rising continues to overfarm, knowing he can tank anything in this Escav's arsenal. Opponent fires off the single resisted drill run. Nerds Rising continues to overfarm, fires off the sky attack that will be getting rid of this pesky bug. The opponent's final Pokemon is Pelipper. As we overfarm, we reach the Brave Bird, but is Brave Bird enough to knock out? Well, you're going to have to watch the video to find out. So welcome back to the channel. Today we have an incredible battle submission using an OP core. Swampert Skarmory has been around since the start of time, and fellow content creator Nerds Rising proves it's still as strong as ever. Make sure you go check Nerds out. If you don't already follow him, go give him a follow. He's linked in the title. Before we get into today's video, I'm going to ask you all for some help. As I've been working like crazy, the YouTube algorithm is hating me and I'm getting hardly any views on my video. So to help improve my reach, I'd like to set a like goal. However, in life, nothing's free. So if I get 300 likes on this video, when Ultra League returns next week, I will power up my Shadow Hitmontop all the way to level 50. Spend 700,000 dust to bring you that showcase. However, if we reach 500 likes on this video, I'm going to power up my Shadow Quag all the way to level 50. You'll get both them showcased at a cost of a cool 1.5 million. Without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game 1, we had Swampert into Pelipper. We are ABA weak to Pelipper, so Nerds Rising had to stay in. However, his Swampert must have a high attack as he did win the charge move priority. He took shield advantage. The opponent is now down a shield. We can send in Skarmory as the damage sponge. The opponent switches out into Registeel, and here comes Lucario. Not only is Nerds Rising using the classic Swampert Skarmory core, he's using a double steal strategy in an ABB team. We're going to be using Lucario as the safe switch for the duration of the video. Nerds Rising shielded up the focus blast, fired off the power up punch. We need 2 counters to knock out or to make the next move. We get the perfect farm down, back out, comes the fly-in toilet. Nerds Rising can shield once, counter farm all the way down. We've got a ramped up Lucario and the opponent wants absolutely none of that smoke, and we're off to a 1-0 start. Holy crap, what a dreadful lead. Swampert wants none of Ludicolo's dance moves. We safe switch into Lucario, and Lucario definitely doesn't want this work of Shadow Marwile. However, Lucario makes the Shadow Ball, forcing a shield. The opponent gets the full Fire Fang farm down, and this is going to be tricky. Swampert could mod shot farm all the way down. However, a play rough will almost one-shot us. There's zero reason to bait. So Nerds Rising is going to respect the play rough. We can now mudshot farm all the way down. We're still going to be temporarily switch locked when Ludicolo does return, but Nerds Rising has a whole heap of energy. He goes straight for the single resisted earthquake, and this is going to land for heavy resisted damage. Switch timer pops. We see the instant pivot into Skarmory. The opponent's got Escav in the back. The opponent absolutely core broken by Skarmory. We respect the potential drill run, and this absolute mad lad very rudely sprays us to the face. However, Nerds Rising undeterred fires off the sky attack. The opponent invests the final protection. We fire off the sky attack, losing CMP. If this is a drill run, we'll get knocked out, but it's only an acid spray. Skarmory survives. This sky attack will be taking him out. However, we are so low. The opponent gets the full Razor Leaf farm down. Is Swampert healthy enough to make the Hydro Cannon? Who was worried? Swampert survives the Razor Leaves, and we take a big clutch dub. Let's go. Hard countered in the lead. Hard punished on the safe switch. However, Nerds Rising proves why he's one of the very best PvPers in the community. In the next battle, we see Swampert into Jellicent. Essentially, this is the bait game. The opponent farms up to a potential Shadow Ball, and Nerds Rising's huge cojones call the bait. He's now going for a little masturbating session himself. Nerds Rising proving he is a much better masturbator than the opponent. They shield our bait. We called theirs. However, Nerds Rising now forced to shield the surf. The opponent switches out into Escavalier. Earthquake will be one-shot, and we see the opponent invest their final protect shield. And here comes Skarmory. The neutral counters are tearing us apart. However, we do resist all charge moves from this pesky bug. Nerds Rising now overfarms, fires off the sky attack. The opponent with no protect shields remaining, sky attack secures the knockout. This opponent is also running a double steal strategy. They've got the Bear Trap, Galarian Stunfisk in the back. Skarmory still not done, fires off the sky attack. The opponent gonna have a tough time mudshot farming us all the way down. The opponent realizes that, chooses to dump energy, firing off the rock slide. However, this is going to be tricky. Swampert is so low. It's going to be all down to Lucario. Nerds Rising sends in Lucario. Again, this is the bait game. The opponent's baited us once. Nerds Rising calls the opponent's going to bait again. The opponent realising masturbating is a dreadful habit and they concede the match. Moving on to the next one. Finally, Swampert picking up a much better lead. Swampert pretty good against this pesky electric fish. However, if you're on the Shadow variant, 2 surfs are enough to knock out. You're going to see we're going to be left below 50% HP. Nerds Rising now over farms, goes for a very risky Hydro Cannon bait. Nerds Rising is apparently the world's best masturbator, as the opponent did crap their pants. Invest in a Protect Shield. Nerds Rising forced to shield up the surf. Do we see him throw on CMP once again? Yes, we do. The opponent's going to be forced to go all shields down or lose lead. The opponent just sacks the fish. Swampert has residual energy. Good to go. The opponent switches out into Arachnid. We see the instant pivot into Lucario. The opponent's final Pokemon is Jellicent, and this time there's no baiting. We go straight for the Shadow Ball. The opponent shows no respect, and holy crap. Non-stab Shadow Ball nearly one-shots the Jellyfish. The opponent ironically throws the Shadow Ball that one-shots Lucario. However, Skarmory gets the full air/farm down, and this game is just over. Skarmory resists the bug bites, and these bubble beams don't do a whole heap of damage. Nerds Rising still has a chance to reset the debuff as well. Switch timer pops up. Nerds Rising switches out into Swampert. The opponent doesn't even commit to the full bug bite farm down. And this game, if it wasn't already sealed, signed and delivered, it now most certainly is. This first Sky Attack will draw the final shield, and the second one is going to be all she wrote. GG's and thanks for playing. I've not actually seen too many Skarmory so far in the Fossil Cup, but it definitely looks like a very solid pick. In the next battle, we see the battle of the Shadow Swamperts. I absolutely hate this matchup. It's going to essentially be who wins CMP. Nerds Rising takes the extra and respects the Hydro Cannon. We haven't really got anything that we can catch the Hydro Cannon on either. Nerds Rising returns fire with his own Hydro Cannon after building up to an Earthquake. We see the shield invested. We found out Nerds Rising does lose this charge move priority event. Nerds Rising invests his final Protect Shield here. The opponent definitely going to match, knowing the win CMP. We now see the pivot into Lucario. Lucario not known for its bulk. We do win CMP to the power up punch, but my god, we definitely will not be tanking this Hydro Cannon. It's going to be high Lucario, bye Lucario. Sorry, Nerds Rising. But we are the ones that get absolutely wrecked. However, this Swampert is in a perfect farm down range for Skarmory. Skarmory gets a running start. The opponent having to think what to do. They're clearly core broken by Skarmory. They send out Escav. Escav can only hit us for resisted. Nerds Rising knows he will tank this move. He's then going to overfarm. We beautifully overfarm, firing off the Sky Attack. Sky Attack will be taking care of Escav. That final Pokemon is Pelipper. They're going to take 5 wing attacks or 10 turns to reach the Weather Ball as Nerds Rising masterfully overfarm. Brave Bird one-shots that flying toilet and it gets flushed back to wherever it came from. Moving on to the next one. In the next battle, we see the battle of the Mud Boys. On our side, we've got the undisputed reigning champion, the GOAT of the Great League versus this season's contender, the buffed Quagsire. Nerds Rising strikes first with the Hydro Cannon. The opponent showed zero respect. Nerds Rising also showing no respect to the Mud Bomb. Swampert does win CMP, so we do cleanly win this in even shielding scenarios. The opponent invests that protection, then overfarm. We attempt to catch a Mud Bomb onto Skarmory. The opponent holds their energy, switch out into Berserker. This kitty has razor sharp claws but zero defense. We go straight for the Brave Bird. Brave Bird nearly one-shots. We sneak the air slash if we survive this move, which is only a foul play. We are going to win back switch. Holy smokes, what a play. Quagsire comes in, gets off one further mud shot. The opponent's Quagman is absolutely loaded. We send out Swampert, looking to force some of that energy. Nerds Rising, putting all his hopes and dreams on the back of Lucario. This Quagsire is going to get countered down. It's all going to be about what they have in the back. The opponent has Escav, and that is just going to be game over. Power Up Punch does vamp up our attack, but just look at our health. The counters are going to tear us apart, and Nerds Rising concedes the match. Moving on to the next one. We see a neutral lead that go into Escav. Earthquake vanquishes the Bug Steel type in, back to their Pokeball. Hydro Cannon does a lot, however they do survive one. Most Escavs always shield, holy smokes, or at least so I thought. The opponent just lets it go. So this is going to be an easy opportunity for Nerds Rising to win lead. We shield up the Drill Run commit to the Mudshot farm down. The opponent sends out Ferrothorn. We see the instant pivot into Lucario. The opponent's final Pokemon is Swampert, and we farm up to a potential close combat, forcing a Protect Shield off the opponent. Nerds Rising now gonna shield up the Hydro Cannon again. I know Nerds Rising always plays optimally, is gonna throw 4 counters and the Power Up Punch. The opponent gonna be forced to invest that final Protect Shield here, as they can't have this vamped up Lucario on their Ferrothorn. And now we're about to see Ferrothorn eat a Brave Bird to the face. Skarmory comes in, gets the Air Slash farm down, and the opponent very rudely concedes the match. Boo, Mr. Opponent. In the next battle, we see Swampert into Ferrothorn. Holy crap, we're going to see the instant pivot into Lucario. The opponent stays in, farm up some energy, and then send out their own Lucario. My god, am I confused. What the heck was that play? The opponent didn't shield up the power-up punch. Lucario gets the full counter farm down. The opponent sends out Jellicent. We make the boosted Shadow Ball. This will be forcing a shield off the opponent, but they don't shield. Oh, I'm so confused. What is going on? The opponent in absolute shambles. Likewise, my commentary is pretty shambolic as I'm so confused. How am I supposed to shoutcast this? The opponent then goes for a Mirror Shock bait. They finally throw the Power Whip. We send out Skarmory, and the opponent can save 2 shields for next season. However, I probably imagine they've uninstalled the game after one of the worst performances I have ever seen. You could say it's comparable to the sort of performances we see Harry Maguire putting in for Man United. Shout out Oxford U. In the next battle, dominating lead Swampert into Marwile. We see the opponent Safeswitch into Ludicolo, and no funky dance moves are going to be helping Lucario flip this matchup. Nerds Rising tanks the Ice Beam, commits to the full Air Slash farm down, back out comes Marwile. We go for the Sky Attack bait. The opponent not willing to shield the first move. We've already got the Brave Bird locked and loaded. The opponent completely sacks Marwile, opting to save 2 shields for the Cradilly, and my god, is Cradilly about to be sad. However, Nerds Rising opting to play with his food. He sends out Swampert. We throw 1 Mud Shot and the Hydro Cannon for optimal fast move timing. Again, we see the 1 Mud Shot and the throw, forcing all shields. We show him Lucario, and the opponent probably thinks Nerds Rising is a great big prick for wasting their time, giving him a glimmer of hope when all was already lost. Moving on to the next one. Swampert into Lucario. Pretty good matchup for Swampert. The opponent instantly pivots into Jellicent, and we don't really have an immediate response, so Nerds Rising stays in. The opponent farms up to a potential Shadow Ball. Again, we see Nerds Rising call the bait. My god, has this lad got huge cojones. He then goes for a bait of his own, and the opponent also displays huge cojones, calling our bait. Nerds Rising now going to be forced to shield up the Surf, and this time he's going for the YOLO. Does the opponent respect the damage? They do not. Night Sleep Tight Jellicent. Nerds Rising looking to pivot into his Lucario. The opponent sends out Araquanid, then go for the classic U-Switch, I-Switch, bringing out their own Lucario, sacrificing it to the Pokegods. They shield up the power-up punch, but we still Simul KO. This pesky spider now going to be aligned with Skarmory, and the opponent really should be reaching for that top left. As the only win con at this stage for the opponent will be Nerds Rising having a heart attack or perhaps being struck by lightning. I'm very pleased to tell you all that Nerds Rising is well and good. He has recently had his tonsils removed. So Alex, I hope you're recovering well, buddy. Nerds Rising banks the double Sky Attack, pivots out into Swampert to reset his debuff, but the GOAT will always do GOAT things, reaching the Hydro Cannon and taking that game. In the next battle, again, we see the battle of the Mud Boys. Can the contender overcome the GOAT? The opponent doesn't fancy that matchup, so they pivot out into Lucario, and Lucario are going to be instantly putting up a shield on the Hydro Cannon. Nerds Rising can easily tank this power-up punch and make 1 more Hydro Cannon, forcing the final shield of the opponent super early in the game, and that's exactly what we see him do. Hydro Cannon draws the final shield, we see the pivot into Skarmory. Nerds Rising gets a message, and Alex says, "Fuck off, I'm busy playing PvP," and puts his phone on Do Not Disturb. Skarmory goes for the full Air Slash farm down. Unfortunately, we are going to have to burn a shield on the double boosted power-up punch. The opponent has no Protect Shields remaining. They send out Escav. They're going to completely sack it as Brave Bird vanquishes them back to their Pokeball. Back out comes the Quagman. The opponent gets the full Mud Shot farm down, and holy crap, this is going to be tricky. Swampert's on minimal HP. Let's see how Nerds Rising plays this one out. We come in, send in Lucario. We're going to need to make a catch. We shield up the Mud Bomb. Stay in school, kids. Learn to count. We catch Mud Bomb number 2 on the low health Swampert. Nerds Rising now can easily make the Shadow Ball on the CMP tie, and Shadow Ball is going to be all she wrote. Masterful gameplay to close out the video. GG's and thanks for playing. Huge shout out to Nerds Rising, displaying that Shadow Swampert, Shadow Skarmory, or in fact just a normal Skarmory and a normal Swampert, or a mixture of the two, is still an absolutely busted core. It's been around all the way since pre-season. Regardless of any meta shift, these two cover each other perfectly and always form a beautiful go-to core that you can rely on to grind elo. If you don't already follow Nerds Rising, make sure you go check him out, linked in the title. His gameplay is absolutely immaculate. He's been to school. His fast move timing, gameplay, and these videos are all quality, so go give him a follow. But if you're enjoying my content, consider leaving a like. If you're new, consider subscribing. If you like your battles featured on the channel, link to a battle submission form is down below. And as always, a huge thank you to everyone for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.